Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Porsche Cup Challenge multi-class sports car racing. Tonight we're at Mount Panorama Circuit, Bathurst, the mountainside retreat here in Australia. As always, I'm your host, James East, bringing the action 1080p 60 frames a second. As drivers starting to get gridded up for this main event, let's go ahead and run through the starting order. On pole, Jack Buser, the number 32 machine. David Bauer starting second, and Aiden Young will round out the short GTP field. Dan McFarland starting fourth overall, first in class for the Porsche Cup Challenge drivers. Jeff Seville starts fifth. Adam Schmidt starting sixth. Michael Carrillo starting seventh. Michael McLeod starts eighth. Julian Swanson starting ninth. Lima starting 10th. Dan Morera starting 11th. Bill Haynes starts 12th. Let's cycle it on back. We've got Jose Maria starting 13th, Vlad Sanchez starts 14th, and in Montreal will round out the 15-car grid here today. Definitely a lighter grid than we've seen in the past for these drivers. Not sure if the mountainside is maybe getting some drivers to shy away. Only 3 GTP drivers. That's pretty rough compared to what we've seen in the past. Now, this track is extremely challenging. I'm wondering if that's going to maybe play a factor into it. 3 GTPs, 12 Porsche Cup Challenge drivers. As we wait for our iRacing safety car to dive down pit road, there we go, the Mustang onto pit road. And Jack Buser will set the stage here at Bathurst, the number 32 machine. And away we go. Bauer and Young side by side. Let's check in and see what's going on as well. But Dan McFarland is going to lead the Porsche Cup Challenge drivers. A very comfortable margin here. Well, I saw a big lockup. Couldn't quite tell if that was Carrillo, McLeod, or Swanson involved in that one. As the drivers rocking and rolling here early on. Already some side-by-side, a little bit of contact there between Carrillo and Schmidt. Really leaning on each other, and off goes Carrillo. And it's going to be an uphill battle for that 29 Once we blast up the mountainside, I would imagine things are going to calm down slightly. Carrillo's going to be in a tough spot here. Not really any great passing opportunities. I'm going to be very excited to see what happens once those GTP drivers start to cut through the field. Now it's a 50-minute race here this evening. I heard somebody give a little fender tap here. I think that was Montreal, the number 19 machine. A little bit further in this head of this battle. Michael McLeod has company. Julian Swanson hard on the binders, locks up the brakes. Lima slams the outside wall, the number 47 Porsche. Jack Buser will get the first lap completed here in that number 32 machine. You can see Aiden Young, David Bauer, not too far behind that 32. They're about a second and a half back. But something has happened. Julius Swanson has suffered an off-track excursion as well. That's going to put Dan Morera in a passing opportunity here. Morera backs out of it to give Swanson a little bit of breathing room. Get that track map adjusted in the bottom right-hand corner. Bathurst spans so much distance here. Hanging off the screen a little bit. There we go, track map fully in the right spot there. As we watch Swanson and Lima battling for that 7th place overall position. Let's go back to Jack Buser. Rock and roll. Now, I've got to say, there's been less incidents here so far at Bathurst than I was expecting. Michael McLeod has some sort of issues, the number 15 machine. He's forced into an early retirement, not even completing his first opening lap. That's good to see from McLeod. He ran so well in qualifying. We've got a 3-car battle, a 4-car battle shaping up with our Porsche Cup Challenge drivers. It's Swanson, Lima, Morera, Haynes all here. Well, Morera taking a peek to the inside line of Lima, not able to get that pass going. And up front in class, Dan McFarland has company from Jeff Seville. And a little bit further up to McFarland. You can see Seville mirroring him from behind. Is Seville going to take a peek against that number 23 machine, or is he going to opt to follow in here? McFarland leading their respective classes as it stands. Up front, looks like Aiden Young starting to track down Jack Buser again. He set the fastest lap. Young set the fastest lap last time by on 146.39 compared to Buser's 146.66. I would imagine that these lap times are going to only get faster and faster here as drivers become more comfortable and the fuel loads start to drop. As we watch the Porsche Cup Challenge drivers blasting down the hill on the mountainside. Have to be very careful. One simple mistake, one little lapse of judgment is enough to ruin your race here at Bathurst, and these guys are on the absolute ragged edge. Now, McFarland, Seville, Schmidt, first, second, third in class, running exactly as they qualified. But Seville's got a big run here. Is he going to take a peek? Falls in as McFarland's going to cover that inside line. Seville looks for it in high-low, doesn't get the drive he was looking for. The pressure is mounting for the battle for the lead of our Porsche Cup Challenge. Now we've got a report Michael McLeod might have returned to pit road as there goes Jeff Seville making the pass for the class lead. There's McLeod rolling out of pit road, rejoining the racing surface. Seville and McFarland making quick work of lap traffic. McLeod sees the race leaders coming up behind, very quickly hopped out of the way, so well done. Now we're going to see, I think that was McFarland dragging a little bit of body work here. I was going to say, will McFarland be able to remount an offensive? But Seville pulls about a half-second advantage, leading the class now. Get an onboard with McFarland here. McFarland potting that number 23 machine. This will give you a good onboard perspective of how dicey things get. Now they are heading out to the GP portion of the racetrack. We've got a crash report. Julian Swanson involved in an incident is now going to be squeezed in between Morera and Haynes. We'll hop back to that onboard as the Porsche Cup Challenge drivers head back up onto the mountainside. It also looks like Jack Buser may be running into traffic here shortly. Luckily, he's going to get in on the fast portion of the racetrack very quickly. Blitzing on, that's Vlad Sanchez, the number 2 machine. So thankfully, the GTP is not running into traffic up on the mountain. A 4-car battle for 7th overall. It's Lima, Morera, Swanson, Haynes, all linked up nose to tail. Well, looks like Haynes gets a big run against Swanson here. Pulls to the inside, not quite able to put the nose of the number 89 machine into a good position, so he's going to have to wait here. And we're going to charge up the mountainside nice and tight. Haynes falls back slightly. Morera and Swanson separated by about 1/4 of a second. Lima has gained about 3/4 of a second advantage here as Lima runs in 4th in class, 7th overall. You can see the sparks kicking off the sides. Drivers getting dangerously close. Now that McLeod has rejoined, well, I thought McLeod rejoined the racing service. I think he lost connection once more, I'm afraid. We whittled it down to 14 of our 15 entries, and look at Jack Buser cutting through the field here. It is definitely going to be a game of traffic management here at Bathurst. Now Aiden Young cutting through. Oh, a big send by Young. Young doesn't want to lose too much time here to Buser. And while that's going on, that is given a passing opportunity as we've got a 3-car battle for 7th overall, 4th in class. It's Morera, Swanson, Lima. Haynes has fallen back ever so slightly, as I believe that's going to be Lima and Swanson doing a little bit of side-by-side dancing. And now here comes Bill Haynes to join the party. Not too far back. You can also see Michael Carrillo, and I believe that's David Bauer, the number 35 machine, catching up to this battle. Side by side, Swanson and Haynes. Now David Bauer is going to cut through the GTP. He wants to get around these Porsche Cup Challenge drivers before they get an opportunity where he's not able to make passes. Bauer's able to do so pretty quick. Well done to the Porsche Cup Challenge drivers, trying to hop out of the way of these much faster class cars. It's still Buser leading GTP, Seville leading the Porsche Cup Challenge. But Dan McFarland's still within striking distance here. Watching Lima, Swanson, Haynes, and now Carrillo, who has joined the party, blasting down the hill here at Mount Panorama. Now it almost looks like Swanson might have the pace to make something happen against Lima, but what's going on up front here? As Jeff Seville has company from Dan McFarland. McFarland has closed the gap back down. Very good racing as we pan back. There is Swanson. Oh, makes a big sit against Lima, pushes off track. And I think Swanson may lose another spot as here comes Bill Haynes trying to capitalize, as well as Michael Carrillo. One little mistake has given Lima an 8/10 breakaway. Swanson holds on to that 6th place in class position. But Carrillo and Haynes have tightened the gap up rather quickly. You must see behind, that was Jose Maria and Motheral battling for 9th in class, 12th overall. I want to go on board. Here's Dan McFarland once more, tucked in behind Jeff Seville. And there goes David Bauer, the 35 machine. Very quickly cutting through the field here. And Seville and McFarland putting on a show here today at Bathurst. Meanwhile, Lima not getting much of a breakaway, running top 5 in class, 8th overall. Jack Buser sets the fastest lap of the race on 146.12. I would be surprised if we're not seeing some high 145s by the time this is all said and done. Now I'm interested to see what Carrillo's going to do here. Down 3 spots from where he originally qualified. But having great pace, it just seems to be a game of consistency here tonight on the mountain. As we go side by side, Swanson and Lima. Looks like Lima might hold on to it. No, Swanson fires back in the 51. Carrillo's going to come down pit road. Maybe thinking, hey, I've got the pace of these guys in front of me, but I need some clean track. While this battle's going on, we've got a battle for the lead for the Porsche Cup Challenge. Seville and McFarland side by side. Seville, the number 3 machine. McFarland, the 23, and McFarland's going to loop it. Pushes wide. And in a very precarious spot here. McFarland able to get it fired back up, but that's going to put Adam Schmidt second in class. Here comes Dan Morera. Morera will take over third. And McFarland is going to have an uphill battle from this point forward. Now for Porsche Cup Challenge, it's going to be Seville, Schmidt, and Morera, your new top 3. McFarland and Swanson will round out the top 5. Morera still has plenty of company as McFarland right behind that number for the number 23 machine, now running 4th in class. McFarland has excellent pace, but he's lost almost 17 seconds. Jeff Seville with that incident. McFarland's going to have to really hope for some sort of mistake out of Seville to get back in it. I think McFarland's not going to wait here to try and make a move against Morera. You see him looking at some different line options, trying to get around Adam Schmidt's machine. Excuse me, around Dan Morera's 404. We go as McFarland going to try and set something up. He seems to be content following Morera for a little while longer. Morera trying to break the draft. Not having any luck with it. McFarland staying right there behind. Now I could see Aiden Young in the background. No, excuse me, that was another Porsche Cup Challenge driver I saw in the background. McFarland trying to find an opportunity to pass, not having too good of luck here. And all over the back of Morera along the mountain. McFarland looking for an opportunity, is not quite able to find it, trying to force Morera into a little bit of a mistake, but Morera's been running very clean here, up 5 spots from where he qualified. Now again, we still have 14 of the 15 entries out on track competing. Buser, Young, Bauer, 1, 2, 3 in the GTP class, leading the overall. It's Seville, Schmidt, and we're watching the battle between 3rd place Morera and 4th place McFarland. McFarland gets a big run, not quite alongside the 404 of Morera. Oh no, Morera off track. Was there a little bit of help there? McFarland is going to move up to 3rd in class. McFarland 3rd in class. Morera drops back to 4th. Now Morera is going to have more company. Here comes Julian Swanson, the number 51 machine. You also see Bill Haynes and Lima not too far behind as well. Swanson put the pressure on Morera. I heard a little bit of contact there with the wall. Morera's going to hold on to it here in the 404 while Swanson continues to hunt for that 4th in class position. And these guys are definitely on the ragged edge here. On board with Julian Swanson. A whole lot of wheel input from that number 51 machine trying to track down the 404. And it looks like they're catching up to Dan McFarland, the number 23 machine. I wonder if McFarland had a bit of a bobble on the mountainside, because Morera and Swanson are pulling closer to that number 23 machine. We may be having a 3-car shootout. No, that looks like it's going to be McFarland down pit road. Not quite to the halfway mark of today's main event. That's going to put Morera up to 3rd in class. Swanson now 4th. As Buser and the number 32 machine blasting by here, leading the overall as well as the GTPs. He's about 3.8 seconds up over Aiden Young. Speaking of Aiden Young, that 427 machine cutting through the field here, trying to make those passes as quickly as possible to catch back up to Buser, maybe contend for the overall win. It is shockingly fast how fast Buser, Young, Bauer make their way around this extremely grueling raceway as we're on board with Aiden Young. The world going by very, very quickly when you're ripping a GTP class car. And we have more battles. This is going to be between Morera and Swanson once more, the battle for 3rd in class. Now, besides McFarland and Carrillo, we have not seen any other drivers come down pit road for green flag stops. I would imagine they're going to try and make that 25-minute mark if all goes well. Swanson keeping the pressure up on Morera. Morera up 5 positions, Swanson up 2. Now right now Morera and it's going to be Mothral, our hard chargers, up 5 positions. You can see Bill Haynes not too far off in the background, as well as Lima and Mothral. We're waiting to see. Right now it seems like Swanson seems to be content following Morera along the mountainside. Both drivers set their fastest laps of the race last time by. Morera, 205.93. Swanson, a 205.67. Waiting to see Swanson. I would be trying to make a pass here, but maybe seems to be content following along with Morera. Maybe trying to force a little mistake when they get in the more open portion of the racetrack. Let's see. Oh, Swanson all over the wheel here. Is he going to try as he pulls up alongside Morera? This is the battle for third and PCC side by side down the mountain. Swanson briefly taking over the race lead. Let's see, can Morera fire back? No, Swanson's going to lock up that spot. Little bit of an off track there. And look at this, here comes Morera going to fire back. Back and forth, Swanson and Morera. Now David Bauer down pit road, Bill Haynes down pit road. Swanson in third, Morera watching from behind in fourth. Now we are past the halfway mark. The cross, green and white flags being displayed to our drivers. Win is Jack Buser. That number 32 machine has been dominant so far this evening. When are we going to see him come down pit road? Aiden Young sees the opportunity coming down pit road for his one and only scheduled stop. Buser's going to stay out a little while longer here, trying to run that number 32 machine as close to empty as possible. A bit of a moment there for Jack Buser. Gets a little bit loose, tags the wall. And things are going to get a little bit dicey. I'd imagine Buser will come down pit road this time by. We've got to report that Julian Swanson has an off-track excursion. Aiden Young out of pit road, spends 26.21 seconds in his pit stall. Dan Morera in the 404 still on pit road. Let's see if Buser comes down pit road, and if so, how long that stop's going to be, if there's any optional damage that he has to get fixed. Dan Morera also in his box. So with the other two GTP drivers, as Buser comes down pit road, Young and Bauer already completed their stop. He had built up almost a 1 minute gap on the rest of the field. Let's see how long this stop is going to be for Jack Buser. Needs to really be faster than a 26-second stop to beat Young's time on pit road. Still racing out on track though, Michael Carrillo, Dan Herrera. Battling for 11th overall, 8th in class for our Porsche Cup drivers. You can also see Bill Haynes mounting a machine. Watching Moreira and Haynes battling for 12th overall, 9th in class. Carrillo has pulled a bit of a breakaway here, now 1.3 seconds up over Moreira in that 404. Now Carrillo came down pit road on lap 7, Moreira on lap 13, so a bit of different strategy here on the mountain. Jack Buser nails the pit stop out of his stall in 25.5 seconds. Oh, where's Carrillo going? Off track. Here comes Moreira. What about Haynes? Carrillo's going to lose so much drive with that little bobble. As now Moreira and Haynes move up to 8th and 9th. Carrillo back down to 10th. 20 minutes left to go in this feature event. Like Moreira just getting a little bit better drive out of the corner. Something has happened to Shannon Motheral and takes a tow back to pit road. Let's get the replay queued up on that one. We're watching Shannon Motheral, the number 19. Was running 8th overall. Just pulls over. I wonder if Motheral ran out of fuel there. And unfortunately, Motheral will be retired from this event. So unfortunately, Motheral being retired. Continue watching the 3-car battle as Moreira, Haynes, and Carrillo will gain some positions as Motheral forced into an early retirement here. These three drivers separated by about a second and a half. Moreira's had a bit of an up and down night as well. Looks like Moreira gets a little bit of a breakaway there, about 3/4 of a second. As we watch these three drivers separate by about 3/4 of a second. Haynes gains a little bit of ground, gaining a couple tenths there on Moreira. Let's check back in on Jack Buser, who has more traffic up ahead. That is going to be, I believe, Dan Moreira in the 404, not too far ahead. No, that's Vlad Sanchez, number 2. My goodness, how quickly Buser makes that pass. Lima, number 47, Porsche Cup Challenge driver, down pit road for his one and only stop. One only scheduled stop, I should say. Jose Maria also down pit road. Now your top 3 in Porsche Cup Challenge, Seville, Schmidt, Swanson. Stretching the run out here. We haven't talked about Seville in a little while, but doing a great job. Has built up a 15, let's call it a 16-second gap over Adam Schmidt, and has yet to come down pit road here. So once Seville feels comfortable coming down pit road, it's going to be a very quick pit stop, not having to take as much fuel to make it till the end. Lima back out on track, as I heard a little bit of bodywork damage. I think that was David Bauer, the number 35 machine. A little bit of contact with the outside wall. And here we go, the battle for 8th overall, 5th in class. Moreira and Lima starting to heat up as they've got Haynes and Carrillo right behind us. There we go, it's gonna be big carnage. That is Carrillo and Maria. No, that's gonna be Haynes and Carrillo. Haynes looped it out. Oh, and he's such a dangerous spot there, the number 89 machine, right in the race line. Oh no, there comes Aiden Young. This is one of the downsides of racing on the mountain. If anything goes wrong, it goes wrong very, very quickly. As Haynes is able to get it fired back up. And now Michael Carrillo takes a tow back to pit road. And Aiden Young has probably seen his life flash before his eyes way too many times on this lap, narrowly avoiding tragedy. As unfortunately Carrillo is going to join the list of drivers forced into an early retirement here with about 15 minutes left to go. Aiden Young has more and more traffic on the horizon. And I think he's going to be joining a battle here. Trying to see, yes, that is going to be Swanson and Lima. Battling for 5th in class and 8th overall. Oh, Young, what a beautiful move from Aiden Young, spotting between the two drivers involved in their own race. Not even giving the other drivers a chance to hesitate or think about it. Completes the pass so quickly, it's already done. The Porsche Cup Challenge drivers are wondering what black and yellow rocket ship that was that just split between them. Swanson pulls about a second favor away from Lima. Now I'm curious to see, now we've got Vlad Sanchez on pit road, I believe, with damage to that number 2 machine. Carrillo, Motheral, McLeod have all put it back in the virtual hauler. I'm not sure if they're going to get back out on track or just call it quits at this point. As there's Dan Moreira not too far ahead of Julian Swanson. Swanson has been whittling away at that 2-second deficit that he has over Moreira, running 4th. Now Moreira, I don't think a podium is going to be within striking distance. Dan McFarland, 3rd in class, 20.5 seconds up over Moreira as it stands. As I say that, Moreira somehow gains almost 2 seconds over McFarland. Now McFarland came in pit road a little bit early on lap 10. I don't think fuel saving is going to be too much of a concern for these drivers. Interesting to see how this one progresses here. This is very quickly becoming a race of attrition, as we got a report Vlad Sanchez, the number 2, had a brief off track, able to rejoin very quickly here, but at this point in the run, attrition definitely becoming a factor. Drivers, if they lose a little bit of focus, very easy to find yourself on the outside looking in here. Our charger out on track. Looks like it's going to be Dan Marrera, racing with 4dracewear.com. Has been very consistent so far this season. Still looking for the first win, though. Marrera frequently inside the top 10, if not the top 5. Now I'm curious to see if Jeff Seville in that number 3 machine can make it 3 wins in a row. No, 4 wins in a row. He won at Coda, Belle Isle, Aragon. At Jerez, he had his winning streak continue as he also won the opening 3 rounds here. At Jerez, that was Michael McLeod getting his first win of the season. As the field very stretched out, but you can see Seville testing the track limits. The problem with a raceway such as Bathurst, the track limit, instead of a Formula One style track, you have plenty of concrete run out. Here at Bathurst, it's just walls everywhere you look. And now Aiden Young catching up to the Porsche Cup Challenge class leader. Able to make a quick pass there. Young dipping a tire there, has to be careful. Very comfortably in second. He's about 13.2 seconds back from Jack Buser, a full 26 seconds up over David Bauer in that 35 machine. Stretch out. I think the 2 closest drivers we have out on track are going to be Julian Swanson and Dan Marrera. They're separated by about 1.6 seconds. Now we had a bit of a report. Jack Buser had a little bit of a moment and it has bled off a ton of time here to Aiden Young. Young now within 8 seconds of the overall race leader. I'm going to be very curious to see, is Aiden Young going to be able to mount a charge here? Buser also on quite a winning streak. A win at Coda, a win at Belle Isle, a well at Aragon. He's going to try and make it 4 to go. Buser either wins or scores 0 points. Actually, no, as I look at the live, the standings and statistics, Buser is looking for a 100% win rate every time he races so far this season. Picks up a win. Looks like he took off at Laguna. He took off at Jerez. The Buser is looking to get that 6th win of the season. And a bit of a correction as well. We talked about Dan Marrera earlier with the 4D Racewear. He is currently winning, I believe, the amateur class here at the Porsche Cup Challenge. Check back in on Aiden Young. I can tell you as a racer, knowing that somebody in front of you who had an impossible distance to close in the case of 15, 20 seconds that Buser had over Young. Now with Young, looking at the relative, seeing he's within 7.8 seconds of Jack Buser, puts a little bit of extra fire in the driving. And Aiden Young has not been afraid to make aggressive passing as he makes a beautiful move, a little bit of contact there with Bill Haynes. Almost looked like netcode between the two. Haynes didn't come out of it too poorly here. Car looks relatively all right. But that's going to cost Young a few tenths that he cannot afford to lose at this point. We've got 6.5 minutes left to go on the mountainside. Oh, Young, that rear end getting a little bit tail happy. If you just barely dip the tires in the grass, it can send you off very, very quickly. Young finding some more time. Buser has backed off the pace slightly. 6.6 seconds ahead now of Young. I'm interested to see what the lap time is. Last time by, it was a 1:46.53 for Buser and a 1:46.84 for Aiden Young. Adam Schmidt running second in class for the Porsche Cup Challenge. 5th overall. He has a big bobble. He's going to lose a ton of time here to Dan McFarland. McFarland now within 2 seconds in closing of a possible second place finish for that number 23 machine. Now Buser gets ready to cross the start-finish line. Let's see what the time reads for him. A 1:48.37, if I'm looking at that correctly. Aiden Young looks like it's going to be a 1:47.24. And we've got a battle for the podium. Oh, a huge moment for McFarland. Slams the outside wall in that number 23 machine. You can see the sparks kicking off. Hopefully he doesn't have suspension damage, as he has closed the gap to Adam Schmidt within a half second as they blast down the hill. A quarter of a second separating the two. McFarland giving a bit of a flashy lights to to Schmidt to try and throw that number 12 machine off of his game. Late in the race, and we've got a fierce battle. McFarland tries to pull up alongside Schmidt. Schmidt's going to have him by the nose here. McFarland, a huge run as they're side by side, showing up into second. Schmidt's going to try and fire back on the inside line. And will do so, but look at the exit speed from McFarland. Taking over the second place spot in Porsche Cup Challenge. That's good for 5th overall. McFarland, huge moves there. McFarland putting the hammer down quickly, gaining about 6/10 left in this main event. 6/10 over Schmidt with less than 3 minutes left to go in this main event. Jack Buser has been running very well, but now only 5.7 seconds separating him and Aiden Young in second. Young's been having a bit of a comeback story here. But is he going to have enough time? He really needs for Buser to make another mistake if Young wants to get back in the hunt and interrupt Buser's race-winning streak. Buser down the mountain, hard on the downshifts. Love watching the racing here at Mount Panorama. Julian Swanson running that number 51 machine briefly triggered the off-track software in the broadcast booth as Swanson trying to catch up to, that's going to be Dan Marrera in the 404 machine. That will be the battle for 4th in class and 7th overall. As Buser gets ready to cross the start-finish line, I think this could be the white flag lap. I think the checkered will be out next time by for your overall race leader, Jack Buser. We're working around traffic, not having too many issues. Swanson getting so close to within a second of Dan Marrera. We believe this is the white flag lap for these drivers. Marrera and Swanson going back and forth ever so slightly. It's a tip here, a tip there. And just hovering around that 1 second gap mark. Marrera up 4 spots. No far here this evening. As we get ready to wave the checkered flag, hitting the time limit of the evening. Jack Buser making his way around the back half of the raceway. Aiden Young has done a fantastic job here tonight. Rebounded the charge, has it within 4 seconds of Jack Buser. But Young just not going to have enough time left in this race. The battle for the lead here. Here we go. Jack Buser in the final moments of this main event. Buser a little bit of celebratory wiggling. The checkered flag is out. And Jack Buser will pick up another win here. And celebrates in style. Aiden Young locks up second. Jeff Seville will do another lap, but he has secured first place. Dan McFarland, Adam Schmidt will round out the top 3. We got a report David Bauer took a tow on pit road in that final lap. He'll still get credited for 3rd, I believe. The drivers have a little bit of celebratory shenanigans here at Bathurst. So for our GTP class drivers, it's going to be Jack Buser, Aiden Young, David Bauer, 1, 2, and 3. And for the Porsche Cup Challenge, it's going to be Jeff Seville, Dan McFarland, Adam Schmidt rounding out the top 3. On behalf of the Team Goon Squad Broadcasting Network, as well as the Porsche Cup Challenge, my name has been James East. Thank you all so much for tuning in, supporting the league, supporting the drivers, as well as supporting the broadcast. And I'll see you at the next one. Have a great night, everybody.